Team MotoCzysz receives their repaired engine. However, there can be no guarantee that the ceramic process plugged the holes. Only by putting the engine on the dyno tester and starting it up will they know for sure that it's ready. If it's not, the engine could literally blow up, taking with it the MotoCzysz dream.
Whilst there are no guarantees, it certainly looks inordinately better than it did before, and we've been able to negate any excessive machining or welding processes. So we'll find out when we get on the dyno. Whatever happens, if there are small leaks, we can live with it.
It's not wanted, but it is normal for these things to happen, you know. First off, castings can be a bit troublesome. It's just a problem, you've got to solve it and move on to the next one. You know, simple as that. So we've probably lost another day on the build.
The very nature of this thing is all problem-solving, emergency, solve, and repeat.
The engine has now gone through its dummy build, first build, which is just to check everything out, everything fits. We've had a reasonable amount of issues with the castings being a little bit off and the machining not being particularly accurate, so the actual build's been a little bit painful in terms of you have to fit everything, check it all rotates, take it apart, clean it up, etc. So that's been done, and this is the actual final assembly that you're seeing here. This is how the engine is going to run when we hit the dyno. I believe we're just waiting on an O-ring for this transmission to go on, then that will slide under the bottom of the bike. And we're waiting on the cam cover as well, which is being machined at the moment in our machine shop. And I believe that is it. We've got a rapid prototype cam cover there that we can use while we're waiting for the main cam cover. It's like a resin impregnated with like a super glue or a Loctite. Actually, it's a glass-filled resin, that's right. It'll take about 120 degrees C. It'll withstand the oil, so we can actually use this to run, just for the first crank over of the engine while we wait for the real piece. Hopefully we don't have to do that, but if it comes to it, we will. But we've weighed the engine the other day. It's so light. It really is impressive. It's a lot lighter than I thought it would turn out. It was 125 pounds, which is really light. I'm very impressed with that. So it means the bike will actually should be underweight.
We are getting there, you bet. So putting in some weight hours and trying to get everything addressed as we go, so it's looking pretty good.
I think I'll do this before we set the buttons.
Running down there to give it clearance for the gear. You see this radius?
Yep, go straight down.
Well, not straight
As the deadline approaches, many team members stay awake for days at a time, working to prepare the engine for the dyno test.
I got home about 3 o'clock last night and slept in until 9 o'clock this morning, so, charged, ready to go.
If we were to take an engine straight out of the build shop, all right, what are we going to do with it? We're not going to stick it in a motorcycle frame because we need to verify, first of all, that it will start and run, that it will, make a reasonable amount of power. We need to verify that there's nothing wrong with it. So what we're going to do is stick it on a dyno, very similar to this installation here. First thing we're going to do is fire it up and make sure it idles. And our idle on a race engine is going to be significantly higher than you might expect on a street bike motor. We're going to go straight to 3,000 or 4,000 RPM on this. In conversations with the former Cosworth engineers who designed this, Simon and Adrian, their target horsepower is in excess of 200 horsepower. This is reasonable in their estimation based on their experience with racing engines from Cosworth and by careful observation of competitive horsepower from similar MotoGP engines. There's going to be varying degrees of success, I think. This is going to be a sliding scale, if you will. On this first engine, for the bike that has to go to Laguna, I'm going to be happy if the thing lives to 10,000 RPM. I am not at all concerned with horsepower at this point. I know that Michael has vested a lot of his energy and time and emotion in this project. I don't want to see this thing wrapped up in a single number.
In a standard engineering process, bringing up an engine like this and of this complexity,
you would like to see a schedule and a test plan that assumes you're going to have to iterate on this, right? So you take some baby steps, you think you're going to make a partial power run, you're going to tear the engine apart and verify that you're not damaging it in any way. And then, you approach the target gradually so that you can sort of minimize any catastrophic failures that might occur. We just don't have that luxury here. We have to choose a path that will lead to success, and we don't really have the option of iteration at this point. So it's a risky approach, but ultimately is really the only way that we're ever going to get successful at this. So we have to get the engine on the dyno. It has to make some power. And if it doesn't, if we have some setbacks, well, we're not really in a position to plan for that at this point.
We're almost ready for the big bang.
With less than an hour to first engine start, the crew has not slept in 3 days.
What do you mean, soy?
So getting the swing on them earlier doesn't really matter. That's cutting it too close for my comfort.
Elbows in here.
Yeah, pretty sight, isn't it?
You're welcome.
All right, we've got a coolant leak coming out of your stellar plumbing job there, Adrian. As a plumber, you make a great beer drinker.
Do we need to tighten him up?
No. Hang on 1 second. There we go.
No, I don't. Yep, the male, female.
We can sort it out, great, if not, don't worry about it. Thank you.
Bad news having a black shelf got cut up under there.
Oh, I'm sorry. 1 and 3 are, yeah. Right.
It's in sixth gear.
Well, you have to go back in there.
Probably then that first, yeah.
It looks really...
Who's our voltage on the starter? What's the voltage?
Is that
Change it down in a second?
Nothing's changed.
Are we still in first gear?
Not changed it.
I didn't change it.
No, no one's changed anything.
After months of anticipation, the moment to fire up the engine has finally arrived.
Oh,
An engine fire threatens to torch the hopes of everyone in MotoCzysz. They must now decide whether to continue with the dyno test and risk destroying the engine or go back to the drawing board.
put it in first gear.
Well, if we had a torsional vibration in the crank coupling that we were not easily able to account for in the initial stages of the design, we could quite realistically split the whole engine apart on the dyno as we pass through an engine speed operating point. This would be devastating to the program.
direction.
Okay, so what are your pulse widths going to be at this point? Are we in the 1 to 1.2 millisecond range?
No, about 0.5.
But that's probably just on the borderline of cracking those things open.
No, but that's the
That's the effective pulse width? Okay, so you've added in the turnaround time. Okay.
The turnaround time.
We may be mis-synced. We're not getting anything.
Realizing they have but one choice, they push to start the engine.
That's awesome, dog.
Yes!
I will do it in a minute.
Duplicate the start again.
Where's he going? All right, Dad. See you tomorrow. Sleep well. I think I will. Until we race, it probably doesn't mean a lot. But what it did mean was we were able to build a bike, design a bike and build a bike in 9 months. And, you know, we hit that deadline.
We put the last penalty against France for the World Cup final. The same exact, it's like I won the World Cup twice this year. That was the feeling.
Quite an unpleasant birth for the engine.
Lack of dyno control.
I think it's one of the coolest looking bikes out there, and it's so nice to see a fresh mind like his. And
It's kind of like this. Michael, ballsiest move I ever seen, man.
That's right.
I know you guys.
Yeah, how you doing?
It's my father Terry, Ben, and Norm, Adrian. So they're gear driven up on one side, and it's a triple overhead cam because we wanted to make the intakes as narrow as possible, keep the package as narrow as possible, but have the things as straight as possible. Thank you, Ryan. What happens is our intakes actually go between, if you take a look there, the throttle bodies go between the intake and the exhaust cam.
It dumps it straight down, huh?
Dude, straight freaking down. And what's cool about that, when you have all four of them there, they sit in this absolute wonderful, gigantic air box. Remember, it was fed with those two air ducts. Comes right in. The air filters are this long on either side.
MotoCzysz, having built a bike from the ground up, has had to design and manufacture more than 1,000 custom parts for the C1.
Yeah, it's got some pretty pieces. 215, 225 engine. This may be the best slipper clutch in the business. It's actually electronic hydraulic clutch.
It's the most expensive machine I've ever been around.
Totally, absolutely guaranteed.
You get to touch them.
You know, you have to like see it to believe it. It's one of those things that to actually see it happen. You've seen special bikes made here and there, but they weren't raced on this kind of level.
First impression, definitely on a cool factor scale of 1 to 10, it's a 10.
And the most exciting part would be the fact that they've started from scratch. You know, I think if any of us took a bike, we would start with an idea that was already there and say, I got a good idea to modify that. But no one's going to sit there with this blank piece of material right here. So let's just start building something. So it's almost like when you look at the Japanese bike or the Italian bike, they're completely different. It's crazy. But to think that there's a whole third train of thought with this American bike, it's really ground up and outside the box thinking. It's unbelievable. It's gonna be good.
The bike's beautiful. I guess on the scale of the undertaking of the task ahead is got to be a 10 as well. I mean, for one man to try to put together something like this it's really amazing.
After months of effort, the time to debut the MotoCzysz C1 has finally arrived.
Being at Laguna with our new bike was instrumental for us in many ways. I mean, we probably couldn't survive if we didn't show up.
The team gets the C1 together just minutes before the unveiling. And finally, the C1 has its day.
Ladies and gentlemen, the new MotoCzysz.
I'm willing to take a couple Q&As. We were told we couldn't start the bike, but I'm kind of willing to give it a shot.
We did it, and we met with the people that we wanted to meet in order to pull our plans forward.
I do not know of anybody that would even come close to wishing Michael Sears anything other than absolute success.
6 months ago, we could have ceased to exist 6 months, which would have been today. That hasn't happened. And it continues to grow and get stronger and stronger with momentum.
For Michael and his team, an important milestone is accomplished. Now, in order for them to secure future funding, they must prove their concepts where it really counts. They take 2 C1s, a black bike and a silver bike, out onto the test track.
To actually see it go around the track, that's a nice point to get to.
We've only run it up to 10,000. Wow.
There is a washer in the engine, a fairly complex washer used to hold the torque tube together, that had some pieces crack off of it. The pieces fell down into the oil and subsequently got sucked into the oil pump, where they bound the pump up and sheared the drive. At that point, the pump stops turning and potentially causes catastrophic damage to the rest of the engine. Well, I am hanging out on the front doorstep of Lawless Engines, right in front of the sign that says open at 7 a.m., and it is now 7:45, so no evidence of this guy showing up yet, and he's not answering his phone. got nothing. We could have wiped out every bearing in the crankshaft and the transmission. We looked at the data. We could see that when the oil pressure dropped off, clearly indicating the pump shear. And at that point, Michael saw a warning indicator on the dash. He was concentrating on other things, obviously, so the bike continued to run for about 24 seconds after the oil pressure went zero.
Team MotoCzysz is forced to make repairs in a matter of hours that usually take days to accomplish.
Exactly. I'm going to have to spot station both locations because it's going to be right on the edge.
So we'll use the same end mill for both ops?
Yeah, that's what I was going to do, is basically spot, turn, spot.
Okay, so we're basically held up to those things.
Yeah.
All right.
If they're wrong about any of their adjustments, the result could be serious injury to the rider.
Closing the valve. Okay. Right? All right. Bolt it up and see if it still works. Right. So what we're going to be doing is stroking the clutch through its travel. I'll keep the valve closed, and we'll see if we keep the clutch in its disengaged position.
It's kind of wobbly. It feels like the pegs are real far forward, and the seat and all is disconnected to the rear.
Creator and test rider Michael Czysz and the MotoCzysz team must test the bikes to the edge of their limits to get the critical data that they need.
This is a scary test right now. We've raised the rev.
If I just mess up at all and run to the corner, it'll start chattering at any point. As soon as it starts chattering, it just, runs so wide. So I'm not aggressive going in at all.
It's the front end tying other than the damping?
Yeah, I think so. I think the damping's the biggest problem, and then of course, chatter.
This is not really surprising to me. These engines are still in development, so there were changes made on the black bike that aren't present on the silver. So they are essentially different in some subtle ways. And we've also got different cams, so the torque curve is going to be different. Not surprising. It just points to the fact that we have to develop these two bikes separately.
Emotionally and personally, I told everybody this is a one-shot deal. We have one shot to do this.
Yeah, if you actually feel like you're on the back foot, you're going to be on the back foot mentally. So we came here, the whole team, with a lot of confidence. I think the entire team has an awareness that it's vital. If we don't perform this, we will not get more money, and we can't and move into the production aspects of it.